Okay, good evening, folks, and welcome to the Marshfield School Committee meeting for Tuesday, March 28th. Mr. Brzezinski, if you could please call the roll.
Ms. Benson? Here. Mrs. Brady? Here. Mr. Boyd? Here. Costello?
Here, and I'd just like to note for the meeting minutes, Mr. Greer is stuck in traffic, but he will be here shortly before 7 o'clock, and he apologizes. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please also join me in the Peace Builders Pledge. I am a peace builder. I pledge to praise people, to give up put-downs, to seek wise people, to notice and speak up about hurts I've caused, to right wrongs, to help others. I will build peace at home, at school, and in my community each day. Under the open meeting law, I'm informing the public that this meeting is being videotaped by Marshfield Community Media. If anybody else is filming this meeting, either audio or video, please notify us of such at this time. Seeing none, we'll move on to our spotlight on excellence. It's great to be at Amesway, and we'll turn it on over to our interim principal, Jean Milch. Mrs. Milch, the floor is yours.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Jean Milch, interim principal, and enjoying every minute of it. I want to showcase our amazing art teacher, not just our Amesway art teachers. We shared this our special art teacher, Mrs. Hahn, Catherine Hahn, with South River as well. So, without ado, I would like to bring you down memory lane in art class. I am about to simulate what she did in the month of February for our students. So, as you notice, you only have, and I'm not Mrs. Hahn, believe me. So, you have an orange crayon, a black crayon.
There we go.
Pick one. And it will coordinate, I have an extra one. It will coordinate the number that corresponds up. And all you need to find is the number and where you are coloring the orange or black. Just a little activity. Try to copy what's up in that square. The number probably is on the back. Is that right?
You need help?
I apologize, but most of this, the background in this slide presentation comes out dark. So after you are complete with this, I may have to turn off the lights just so I can roll through the slides, if that's okay. If it's too dark, then I'll put them back on. Okay? Yep. Everybody has their phones on anyways. So, the power of art. Great art can speak to you no matter where in your life you might be. Our Amesway's showcase is on art. This actually involves both Amesway School and South River School, thanks to our shared art teacher, Catherine Hahn, and how she inspires our students. I'm sorry she could not be here. We prepared this from the snow day, so again, sorry about that. Last year, all 5th graders created one tile like you just did that collaboratively created a poster to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And this is the project that the 5th graders did last year. One tile created more change than expected. Recently at Amesway, we recognized Acceptance Week. We made an effort to highlight diversity, uniqueness, Same and Difference Day, and inclusion, big bodies, little bodies. So how do we all fit together? And let's find out through the power of art. So you all composed on your tile, and maybe we'll see the big picture later on. So your artist, if you were in kindergarten, Yayoi, loved drawing more than anything and was told as a young girl in Japan that it was foolish and she could only be a mother. She continued to draw all the time, and one day while lying in the field and drawing, all the world became dots. The world opened up to her and she traveled to New York and became a famous artist, painting dots and all things that she loved. And I will say, when the lights go on and you are leaving the building, please walk our gallery in the yellow hall, where it all came from. This year, on January 15th, Mrs. Hahn expanded her project and a poster from each class. From one poster last year, expanded it to a poster from each class and was unveiled to coincide with the birthday of MLK Jr. She brought our school together in a message of unity and greater understanding of others. Working together, the students created posters of artists they studied and made a difference because of diversity, inclusion, and adversity. All the posters were displayed for the first time on MLK Jr.'s birthday. In honor of Black History Month, the students then created art that was influenced by their given artists. So not only did they create by tile and come together by class, the poster, one poster, then they took time to study what the artist did. And they added, our students added light work around that poster. The artists in this hallway share their messages. Stay healthy, be recognized, be kind, be courageous, appreciate your history, understand that hard work is the key to success, surround yourself with people different than yourself, know that you are important. And Mrs. Hahn always gives that message every art class. Prepare to be amazed because you are amazing. So the 5th graders, Kennedy Watt, his phrase, it's not what a painting looks like, but what a painting says. So their tiles came together, all as one. So they take it further and do like art. And we had our innovation specialists be able to put kids in the artwork, in that birch tree, or wherever they wanted to go. Grade 4, Miles Davis. Do not fear mistakes. There are none. Their tiles came together as Miles Davis.
even though they may have painted only a blue, black line and a white, and they're done in that tile, they never knew what it was going to look like in the end. Their artwork made instruments play. They wanted to emphasize what that instrument did. Grade 3, Faith Pringle. Wake up each day looking for possibility and inspiration. What was her art book? A lot of her artwork was tapestry and environment and science. All of Mrs. Hahn's projects are age-appropriate with a challenge and multi-layered in their product. Grade 2, Reggie Thorne. Be patient and try as many styles as you can. Okay, easy. But is it? To be yourself and believe in yourself as an artist is not an easy thing. But Mrs. Hahn makes it look easy. Notice all the different textures and how she approaches art. It comes together in many modalities. Maya Angelou, grade 1. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Again, it's the power of art. It's where the kid grew. And they were so engaged. They loved what they did. They didn't give up. And I'm not sure if you've seen this, but when an artist is really intense in their work, sometimes they're quiet, but the tongue comes out often with paying so much attention. Evaluate Kusama. With just one polka dot, nothing can be achieved. She loved her work. She was all about polka dots, and that hallway is just three-dimensional polka dot, even though it's a 2D figure. So you constructed this as well, and we could easily put on a map of 1 through 12 how all your pieces would fit together. So the power of art, great art, can speak to you no matter where in your life you might be. Thank you, Mrs. Hahn. And maybe we could put that together. Here you are.
Thank you very much.
You're being a kid again, right? With your crayon.
I want to see what it looks like.
We'll take care of that one. Any questions?
Any comments from folks?
It was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really interesting.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Here
that.
in person.
Yeah, I can't wait to go home and see it.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing it on the way out, absolutely.
A funny story about that is because it's a week later now, she was scheduled to have that all down.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for
Last
keeping
week,
it
I was
up.
like, no, you can't.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's great.
And I think that, like, you know, later as kids, like, keep going from grade to grade and they're going to always see that sort of interconnectedness of different topics and subjects. And I think this is a really great way to be laying that groundwork for the sort of interdisciplinary nature.
Mr. Greer, you missed drawing. But you can't draw on the line. That's okay. Yes, you can. Thank you very much, Mrs. Milch. We appreciate it.
Very, very welcome. Glad to hear it.
Okay. Well, moving on, we'll take our student representative report.
All right, for Marshfield High School this week on Saturday, the student council will be volunteering at the Easter egg hunt at Coast Guard Hill at 8:30 a.m. At FBMS, they had their Club 7 dance on March 24th. It was a neon lights theme, and they all wore the neon colored clothing. And they also have a new school dog named Winnie, who she's so cute. At Martinson, they have a Red Sox Day where they wear their favorite Red Sox gear, red, white, and blue. And on March 30th to 31st, all third grade classes will have ELA caps. So,
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay, moving on into informational. We'll turn it on over to you, Mr. Greenty.
Do you know if I'm in those meetings, I guess I should have done this at the beginning of the meeting, but if we could just have a quick moment of silence for those lives lost yesterday at the Covenant School. Hayden Scruggs, Lyndon Dykos, William Kinney, Mike Hill, Catherine Kuntz, and Cynthia Peak. Thank you. Just a couple quick items. One is something that's very exciting. I think I've talked to a couple of members. I know Ms. Boyd has been talking about this for a couple of years, and Ms. Bray and actually other members here look at our footprint on social media and want to see how we can expand it and make it more useful and user-friendly for our parents and stakeholders and students. And we use Twitter a lot, and people get that, but we're not typically on Facebook a whole lot as a district, or Instagram, and those are areas where students and parents are often located. So after much looking back and forth and looking at the pros and cons of it, we actually were given the impetus from Superintendent Joe Sanfilippo, who spoke to our district last fall about using this organization called Social School for EDU. And they are a group of folks in the Midwest who work with districts to help get their social media footprint out on a more consistent, kind of analytic, logistic basis. And I think we do a good job, but we're not looking at the times that we send things out, or the locations that they're being put, or how many are at different levels that are different grade levels. And so these folks take items that we would be doing typically and putting on our school Twitter sites, or teacher Twitter sites, or maybe a Facebook site, and getting all that information, getting those pictures, getting quick blurbs, and systematically getting our message out across all three venues: Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And with preset and message expectations on how it's going to be used and what it's going to be like and what can you expect as far as interaction. Again, typically there's not a whole lot of back and forth when we use Twitter, but there are 90 different districts across the country. Their focus is 90% celebration, 10% information, and by getting that celebration out there, you're bringing in not only our students and parents, but even alumni. They have things like Throwback Thursday, where they put pictures from old yearbooks in there, see if you can identify these folks from 1972. When doing that, they see far more interaction from their stakeholders, their parents, their students, their alums. And I think it's something that is going to be really helpful for us. I think, again, we do a pretty good job getting the word out, but we can always do better. And I think this organization has done a lot for districts that we've looked into, especially the one in San Felipe, up in Wisconsin. They're everywhere on social media, and it's through the work of this group of people. So we're excited about launching with them, and we're looking at a May 1st launch. So they're doing some prep work. They met with us today. Joni, as always, has been the forefront of this, along with Dave Cawthorn, Alan, and Tom, finding ways to do this. So it's exciting. So there'll be more to come on that front. So we will see us out there.
Can I just mention they are from Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Yeah, just throw that in.
It doesn't have to do with it, the shovel snow, so they might as well work in this.
Brian Rogers.
Sorry about that, of course, my things aren't good, we talked about it. Strategic plan, that is moving forward. You probably saw some notices that went out last week. We're going to start with some focus groups. TLA, our group that's working with us and putting this together, met with us 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and came up with some dates for strategic plans to meet with, focus groups, I'm sorry, to meet with our parents, stakeholders, our students, our school committee, our leadership team, well, the parents obviously were the big ones. So Tuesday the 4th will be our first set of focus groups. And again, they're going to probably do some type of SWOT analysis with it, identifying our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, our threats. Tuesday the 4th, 12 o'clock will be our leadership team. 3 o'clock will be our secondary and staff. 6 o'clock that night will be the school committee, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. The MHS presentation center. Then the following week on the 10th, we'll have our students in the morning. Actually, we're moving it to noontime on April 10th. Then our elementary staff at 4 o'clock, and then our parents at 6:30. So we're excited for that. We're also in the process of collecting various pieces of data that represent whether it's positive, whether it's negative, things that we use to measure ourselves, gauge ourselves, and we're going to put that into this big file that they take, and then they kind of churn that out and systematically let us see our strengths, weaknesses, along with the feedback from the focus groups, and then there'll be surveys going out to families, to staff, to new folks, to all of our stakeholders to get further information. So this is all before we start working as a committee. Over the next week or so, we'll be sending out invitations for people to express if they're interested in being on that. A parent representative, a teacher representative, a student representative, we've identified our 2 school committee representatives, correct?
Yes, myself and Ms. Boyd.
So we'll have that set, and the first meeting of the committee will be on April 27th. And they have a pretty tight schedule, kind of what we had when we did it 5 years back, 6 years back. But they're hoping to be done by June 12th. So we might have a plan to bring to the school committee for a June, I think, 16th meeting. It won't be finalized. What they also do is once our plan is finalized, they will put it together in a brochure-like format that we can use to market, not market, but to share with our stakeholders, as well as putting something together for us electronically on our website. So it's an exciting time, lots going on there. I also want to just quickly thank or congratulate a couple students, Rio Valente and Mary Kate Young. They're both juniors at the high school. I saw on Twitter that they were recognized for the National Scholastic Art Award. They're both winners, silver medalists, and the teachers, Ms. Almeida and Ms. Rivero, will be with them when they get their medals in a few weeks. So that's very exciting to get that to that level. I don't know if we've had that happen with that level of success in some time. So we're very excited for that. And that's all I have on kind of stuff going on. If you don't mind, I have something else I'd like to share with the committees. And I've had a chance to share with individuals of the committee, but not publicly yet. So I just want to give me a second here to go through this. But I want to end my notice today by notifying you that I will be retiring from my position as the superintendent of schools on June 30th, 2024. We got a year to go, but I really want to get the word out early. There's a lot that you folks have to do in the process of finding a new superintendent, and I didn't want to wait until June because there's things that can be done between now and then that will put you in a better stead as you start a search sometime next fall. This was not an easy decision to make, but in light of what I've experienced over the past year on the health front, and the fact that I've been blessed to be an educator since 1991, I feel it is the right time not only for myself, but for my family and for the district. I want to assure you that I'm healthy at this time, but it is an ongoing process, and the wear and tear that comes from running a district can be taxing. For the sake of my family and my friends, I want to make sure I'm doing all I can to remain healthy far into the future. As I said, I've been blessed to be an educator for well over 30 years now, and by next spring, I will have spent my final 15 years as a school superintendent. I've worn every hat that you can wear in education. I've been a substitute teacher, a tutor, a classroom teacher, a transportation coordinator, an athletic director, a vice principal, an assistant superintendent, an interim superintendent, and a superintendent. Mixed in there were a few years as a chief of staff, for state senator and a two-year term as the president of the MIAA, which really felt like a 20-year term. Since 2015, I've been the most fortunate superintendent in the Commonwealth, as I've been able to lead the Marshfield Public Schools. I could not have asked for a better, more engaging, more welcoming, more caring community than Marshfield. As I work with countless educational superstars across the district, I've continued to grow as a person and as a leader. That's why this job has never felt like work. Helping the countless students and families who have walked our halls is why I do what I do, and it's been a pleasure to see them grow over the years. Between now and next June, I will have ample time to truly reflect on the work we've done here at Marshfield and to thank so many people who have helped me along the way. I will not try to name everyone now, as I will surely miss a few, but I want to thank a few. First off, my leadership team with us here tonight. Alan Martin, Dean Scalaro, and Tom Miller are the best in the business. My building principals and assistant principals, district leaders, and my team of dentists are second to none, and always find a way to make me look good as they help their students in the district. Our close to 500 teachers and support staff, led by the dedicated leader, Ms. Sally Markle, are amazing what they do. And I look forward to continuing that work with them through next year. And to the real leader of my office, John Kugarski, you're the best, and while I never thought I could replace someone like Ruthie and Despier, you've been amazing and have kept me on track over the past few years. Thank you for always being there. I would be remiss if I did not thank those school committee members I have been able to work with and grow with over the years. From Marty Morrison, who was the person who officially hired me, to Nancy Carty, Carol Shane, and Heidi Church, I learned so much from each and every one of them. And to those members who are here before us tonight, Lara Brake, Bridget Boyd, Sean Costello, Rich Greer, and Kendra Stetson, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have supported me, fought for this district, cared for our children, and supported our staff. You have done everything the superintendent can hope for in the school committee, but more importantly, you have been my friends. I know I can always count on you, and that was never more evident than when I had to battle a few health issues over the past 12 months. I will always cherish the time we've had as colleagues, and will continue to embrace the friendships we have developed. We have a lot to do over the next 15 months, and I'm excited to keep the ball moving forward. We have principals to hire, strategic plans to create. We are opening a new preschool building and hopefully joining the South Shore Rotec. We have fantastic relationships with our friends on the town side of government and with numerous caregivers and support organizations throughout Marshfield, and we will continue to build on those relationships. The magic that takes place every day in our classrooms does not happen by itself, and we need to do all we can to support our teachers and support staff who lead the way. They in turn are helping and supporting our talented students, and together they represent the idea of we are Marshfield. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I'll put that in the next spring.
I will ask the committee if they have any comments.
Motion that approval was
Yes. You've got a quorum here that's crying. It's not just you this time.
And audience.
Yep, members of the audience. I'll just say really quickly, Mr. Granatino, all good things must come to an end. And these 8 years that you've been here leading our district have been incredible years for students, families, staff of Marshfield. And I think if you ask anybody in this town what the opinion is of the superintendent, they'd say that he's visible, that he's communicative, and most importantly, that he cares about kids. And that's a really special thing. And just on a personal note, I am definitely better for having had the opportunity to work with you so closely for these last 8 years. Ms. Stetson and I got elected in May of 2015, and you came on board 2 months later, so we came in together. And it's been a real pleasure. I'll tell a really quick story and then ask anybody else if they want to say something. But a few years ago, and I know I talk about it too much, a few years ago I ran for state rep and I didn't win. And the night that I lost, I gave a concession speech at Haddad's. I hugged my family and I walked out on the deck of Pat and I called Jeff. And I don't know why I did that. I just think I needed to talk to somebody that I trusted to give me good advice, and somebody that I knew me and could guide me in a really formative moment in my life. And you stayed on the phone with me for a while, and I think you were probably like, but I literally gave the speech, hugged my mom, and called you. And I hope that says to you just how much our friendship means. And so thank you, Mr. Granatino, for everything you've done for Marshfield, for me, for everybody here. We appreciate it. And I look forward to the last 15 months.
There you go.
Thanks for giving me some really ample heads up. Make the last year the best yet.
Yeah.
That's a danger having you go first.
Sorry.
I was going to say, I have nothing for you tonight, but I can't wait to throw you the most amazing retirement party. And I'll save all my comments for that night.
Like a roast.
Yeah, roast of Jeff.
Yes. I mean, I'll add, Jeff, I mean, I think it's evident in everything you've done that you truly put people first. And whether those people are the kids or the team or the educators or your staff, I think that's one thing that I'll continue to learn from and walk away from this role taking from you, is just how important that is to lead with people first. And you don't only say it, you show up. Sean said it. There's what you show up at every activity, every sporting event, every athletic kind of extracurricular. I mean, you celebrate it all, and you're there for the kids, and that's because that's where your heart is. So I'll have more to say too.
Okay. Plenty of time to come up with this.
I can actually speak without much blabbering in school, but I have such mixed emotions because as a parent in the district, like my girls have only been in Marshfield schools with you as a superintendent, and there is no one that I trust more to lead the district where they are. And so that makes me super sad that as your friend, I'm so happy that you and your family will have this time. And Bridget's right, like you show up for our students, but we also show up for us. As you said, we showed up for you as your friend, but you showed up for me and for my family through some hard things too. So that's all I'm saying.
Might not be easy, but I think, everybody here used the word leadership, right? And anybody can have it. You can pound your fist on the table, but that's not the right solution, right? One has to be a leader, and you definitely let, people follow your example, you set the example. So I think, we picked the right guy to be as a superintendent. And you can't go.
I think it says, well said, I think it says a lot about the longevity of this. I mean, we've all been on for a long time, or at least tenured members been on for almost 5 years, and that's a long time in and of itself. But you've been here so long that only one of us was even here when we got hired. So Mr. Mr. Greer was one of the 5 folks that hired him.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Sorry.
That's all right. I had a full head of hair then, too.
well, so
I'm sorry to take up so much time in my opening. I'm always rather long-winded, so this was an extra long, but that was important to get out.
we appreciate you sharing it, and we look forward to celebrating you and everything that you've done for Marshfield. Okay, moving on next, Dr. Martin.
I
you get to
thought he
follow.
was going to do this at the end. So now I have to follow that. I have no words. No, I don't have a whole lot, just some grant updates. We received 2 grants recently, one for $35,000 toward investigating literacy materials next year at elementary. We got $118,000 for continued implementation of Bridges Math. Rising Voices, so MEF, Marshfield Education Foundation, gave us a grant for, I can't remember the amount, it was a lot of money. We were able to purchase literature around diversity and girls in STEM last year, so we put together some TLC groups at the elementary level, so they are setting up some scholastic webinars
and are implementing the literature in their classroom. They're going to share pictures and videos and stories of their kids. So I'm looking forward to that. Women in Leadership Conference, Sarah McNeil, Amy Altline, and myself attended the conference last week with Dr. Darnisa Amante Jackson and Dr. Khalees Mornham, who discussed the stages of diversity, equity, inclusion, and how belonging is really at the heart of all of that work. It was an amazing day, and I was happy to share it with Mrs. McNeil and Mrs. Altline. Our Beginning Teacher Institute, today we had our last kind of big one. There were about 25 to 30 participants, and if you look on Twitter, they were throwing, they were using badminton rackets, buckets, and some sort of push ball. No, they were the loofahs that you use in the shower to like play a Jeopardy game. It was very interesting. You'll see if you post on Twitter. So that's it for me. Except Jeff, you're going to have to think of a good song for us to karaoke to this summer at the superintendent's conference at the last year.
And you'll have to take a video.
I'm sure there's one hanging around somewhere from last year.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Mrs. Scott.
I just have a few updates. Quick update on kindergarten registration. So our kindergarten registration opened on February 1st, and we requested that families register by March 17th. We currently have 231 students registered for kindergarten for 23-24, which is about 29 fewer students than we have this year. But given the timing, we fully expect that we will be at least our current enrollment or maybe a little bit more going into next year. ESY planning is well underway. So ESY is our extended school year program for students served by special education, preschool through age 22. The program this summer will run from July 10th to August 10th, and we will have sites at Martinson, Furnace Brook, and Marshfield / the Post program. We will start posting for teachers, support staff, and related service providers next week. And finally, CPAC, so that's our Special Education Parent Advisory Council, is in the process of electing a new executive board, so I'm very excited about this. At a meeting last week, CPAC voting members elected Amy Smith as the chairperson and Maureen Dowland as the secretary. The vice chair position is still open. We have some people interested, and we're hoping to have an election at a meeting in May.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Mr. Miller.
Just one quick update. The special annual town meeting warrant is out. I did add it to the school committee drive just earlier today. Most of the items on there that pertain to the school department are things that you are already aware of. We have the article for the South Shore Regional Vocational. That is Article 2. Article 4 is a free cash article for $300,000 for 255 Furnace, which is the new early childhood building. We have Article 10, which is sponsored by the selectmen, but it also pertains to the schools in that it grants easements for lines and utilities for the solar project that has been detailed, and that's for Ainsway, Daniel Webster, Governor Winslow, and Marshfield High School. Those are all in special town meeting. In the annual town meeting, we have Article 3, which is the budget. We have Article 4, which is capital budget. We have one item that is moving forward there. It's $290,000 for the Daniel Webster Gymnasium and putting a whole new floor in there and padding the gymnasium. And then lastly, there's a small little thing that pertains to us in Article 17 in the CPA, the installation of the dugouts and fencing at the university baseball field. And we had some dugouts generously donated, and that money will get that project finally completed.
Awesome.
And you did leave one thing out after that long note. One big date that was just finally firmed up and put it on the agenda here. April 25th is going to be a very important day. It's my superintendent for the day visit from one E.B. Campbell, who's going to spend the day with me, making a lot of decisions and helping us move the district forward. So I just want to make sure we had that on the agenda. I mean, on the minutes.
April 25th, that's when some big stuff is going to happen. Big stuff.
I'm going to call it sick day.
I'll take care of you.
Yeah, there you go, Joe. So before we move on really quickly, I just want to say, a couple weekends ago now, the St. Patrick's Day 5K had what, like 3,500 runners? Something
3,000.
A little over 3,000 runners. And obviously there's so many hands that go into making that day happen, but it does not happen without Mr. Miller. So just a round of applause for him. Yep, tons of hands. Well done.
Over 80,000. So.
Oh, that's unbelievable. That's for one event. That is unbelievable. Okay, we've reached the any subcommittee reports.
I do have one thing.
Yes.
Yes.
I know we talked about Northeastern a couple meetings ago, but Mr. Renatino did sign an MOU for Marshfield with Northeastern University just the other day.
Oh, awesome.
So we'll be coming forth with more information on that, but that did happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
We're
fantastic.
officially partnering with them. We don't have the specifics filled in yet, but we're taking the first steps along that way. I'm integrated. Thank you for bringing it. It was great. It's going to be a really nice relationship, I think, on a lot of different fronts. So
That's awesome. That's great. And thank you both for everything you did for that. Okay, we've reached a point in the meeting for public participation. Anybody wishes to address the committee, now is your opportunity. You can step forward and do so. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the MEA update, and we'll turn it on over to you, Mrs. Williams.
Oh, you never turn anything over to me. No microphones today? Just like dulcet tones? Okay, where am I talking to? All right.
We can hear you.
I know. First of all, as we know, we're entering into the MCAS season, which is always a wee bit traumatic for some of our students as well as for our teachers. And I want to make sure I wish all of our students a successful, non-tense, wonderful experience with the MCAS, and to please make sure that the parents make sure they get lots of sleep the night before so nobody's stressed out the next day. To say I've been surprised this evening would be an understatement. I can actually say that I have known more superintendents in this district than anybody else in this room. And I've worked with a number of them. Every superintendent brings their own gifts to this job. And I can say, without a doubt, that Mr. Granatino brought compassion, patience, intelligence, and a good sense of humor for the past 8 years to this position. And while he is not a, quote, personal friend, the same way he is for the school committee, I feel that he has tried to make sure that every teacher, every student, every ESP, every secretary, every custodian, anybody who is involved in this district has had an opportunity to be heard, to be understood, and to receive his support when it's been necessary. I really hate the idea of having to break in another superintendent. And anybody who follows Mr. Granatino is going to have an extremely difficult time because you have set a very high bar for anybody who wants to come into this job. And I thank you for the respect, dedication, and care that you've had, and the fairness, even though some people don't always think so, but the fairness you bring to every decision you make. And I look forward to, if I'm reelected, working during this last year while you're in the Marshfield School District, so when you leave, we can have a great system to pass on to whoever tries to take your place. Thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. Well said. Okay, with the committee's consent, I'm going to move some stuff around on the agenda. We'll move the minutes to the end. Promise I won't forget Mrs. Wazorski. And I'm going to move some of the other stuff too. We have some folks here that want to get out of here. I don't want you to have to stay. So we're going to go first to the Anderson Field video scoreboard, and we'll turn it on over to you, Mr. Aruka.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I didn't know nobody was supposed to sit in the front row.
You're fine.
I'm behind you.
I want students sit up front, and the principal's behind me, that's amazing. But I just wanted to give an update. We met about a year ago and discussed updating the scoreboard at the James Anderson Field. Thanksgiving Day, the scoreboard didn't work. And I said we should probably get that project rolling again. So it was kind of a grassroots effort. There was a team put together, and they did an awesome job. And I'm here to report, there was really a grassroots campaign, tremendous momentum. The community, I was amazed at how supportive they were. When the team went in to talk to them, they helped raise the money. The funds are pledged and ready from local partnerships. And right now we're at the point, we have a board ready to administer and facilitate it going forward. And we really need permission or the authority to sign the contract with Daktronics and start construction. That's the point we're at now.
So how is much of the money being collected through sponsorship, corporate sponsorships, and signage?
All of it is partnerships, yes.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, go ahead.
So, what authority do we have over school?
They're in charge of our fields. They're in charge of playgrounds. I would gather that Article 3 is silent on scoreboards or electronic devices. Just like we have the sound system there, we're responsible for the sound system at the thing. I would say just like we're responsible for, Mr. Miller's up on Carabelle Street changing the traffic lights outside of the school. We're responsible for traffic lights as well and crossing guard lights. And I think they are.
We pay for all of the scoreboard maintenance, out of our budget, out of the athletic budget, scoreboard boxes, sound system, everything that's inside the press box, anything that's involved with MSB TV, will be with our partnership with, MCN. So I would say to you that they've never been involved in a conversation about scoreboard. We've done all of that and paid for all of that. So I wouldn't think.
That's how it is with most districts.
I don't have any issues with it.
Yeah.
I'm all in favor of it. I mean, just asking a question.
Yeah, no, that's a good question to ask because they are in charge of keeping up the field, but that part of it is our responsibility. And we had asked Mr. Ruka whether he can more about this project just to kind of give us an update as we moved along. I mean, the committee was very forthright in their support of any endeavor to raise the funds for this. I just felt that because they were starting to make some serious movement, just an update from him to you folks would be good. And again, whether it's stating the policies about as far as okaying the expenditure. I mean, we have the money raised, we'll go to an account that Tom sets aside of their student account, or what would it fall?
Yeah, so I did talk with Mark Stiles earlier today, and he is actually going to be the president of this,
Setting up
of the 501c. There's a 501c3 that's going to be set up. Their 501c3 will collect the donations, purchase the board, and it will come back to the committee as a gift to the district. And then we will sign an agreement to have the 501c3 manage the operations of the board, the advertising, under the advertising bylaw in our policy. So that's how the agreement's going to work. So
I won't be on that board, no coaches over there.
yeah.
Just so everyone knows too, I was on the
Yeah.
group that raised the money to the school board. So I've been involved since the beginning. And I believe that what you're referring to, I think is a care and custody situation of the school department.
Yeah, we have an MOU with the DPW that we're going to do. We have this,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm all in favor. I just didn't want to hit those, he said it was out.
No, appreciate the question. Any other questions or comments, Mr. Ruka? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
See you soon. Okay, we're going to get our DECA folks out of here. Why don't you guys come on up?
We are excited to share a little bit about what we've done this year as our chapter. Lily Sayre is one of our student representatives. She's on our leadership team to share with you about our competitions this year and to request permission to attend our international conference.
Rebecca is a business club where we go to conferences and present our role plays and written projects. Rebecca helps students step outside their comfort zone and become better public speakers along with helping them work on their feet. This past year, we had over 20 members enrolled in that year, and we sent 175 of those members to our district conference. And then our state conference was up on DECA officers, one by the state officer. So now she's representing Marshfield DECA at the state level.
Can't believe we have over 200 kids participating in this, like starting from such a small group, which doesn't seem like that long ago. Such a great opportunity for our students to learn those public speaking skills, be able to interact, network, turns into lots of internships, jobs, and some great connections. And super exciting that we have a student representative at the state level. There were 3,500 students at that conference in Boston, and she got elected as one of 6. So it's really, really exciting to have somebody at that level represented from our town. So we're really excited. That's Taylor too. We're very excited for her next year. And she was elected as a sophomore, so she'll be a junior on there. All the others are seniors, so we're not even mad that she's younger than all of them. So we're very excited. We have 16 students that have qualified to compete at our international conference, which is in Orlando, Florida. Starts over April vacation, but the students will miss 4 days of school following April vacation. They'll participate in a variety of leadership activities, competing in different areas. We have some students that are doing role plays, some students that are doing presentations. Our school store was also gold certified from National DECA, so we have some students going to present on our school store operations, which is pretty exciting. So we are looking forward to the opportunity to attend. I believe in your packet there's some information about the details of the trip, with the dates and some costs. We've been doing some fundraising to kind of decrease the actual cost to the students, but that's the cost of the trip that you see in there. And if you have any specific questions, we're happy to answer those as well.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Mr. Go ahead.
This is a great program. It's been going on for years. Some of my kids have been involved with it. It's your fault. I'm in the business and move away from home. Yeah, I'm ready to move on this tonight.
Yeah, I'll add, I have 3 DECA sort of students as well, and, you know, I can really see it paying off now that they're interviewing for more and more jobs, like internships, jobs after college, like that experience is really paying off, so.
Now that I have alumni that are out in the working world, I'm like, okay, you're going to come back and take care of me now that you guys are all busy. It's really exciting to see all the stuff that they're doing now and to be able to hear from them and have them come back and talk to our kids. It's really awesome.
How many students did you have when you first started this one? And do you remember what year that was?
It's been here 13 years.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
4 to 200. Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
That's incredible.
231. Yeah.
That's incredible. Any other questions? Okay, on the dates of April 22nd to April 27th. So moved by Mr. Greer, second from Ms. Stetson. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, that's 500. Before you leave, can I just say I have had multiple opportunities now in the last few weeks to be impressed with Lily. And she, not only great job tonight, I know you're a sophomore, and coming here and speaking to this group is intimidating, I'm sure. But Lily was one of our 2 student representatives on the principal search committee at Marshfield High School, and did a great job. Had great insight, asked good questions, took good notes, just everything. And I could not have been more impressed with Lily or with Winter Bose or other student representatives. So while we have you here, I'm going to ask for another round of applause. Well done.
Yeah, sure. Like the chaperone situation on a lot of these trips, I don't know if you could look for a school.
Right. You don't want to take Mr. Greer, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go down now to Mr. Miller. Turn it over to you. I got 2 items.
Yeah, we'll start with the transportation contract, fiscal 24 through fiscal 26. I did mention this at the last meeting. It was advertised in January with a bid opening at the end of February. We had 7 transportation providers request the documentation and received 1 bid response from our current vendor, Topman Enterprises. So Topman did win the bid for 24 to 26 with an option for 2 years. The contract remains basically the same from the one 5 years ago. A few small little tweaks. The big thing there is that the bid submittal did have an increase of $328,000 from 23 to 24, which represented over 22%. The per bus bid price does bring us in line with the rest of the state. So this is not anything anybody else is not seeing across the state. It's a pretty familiar story with other districts. With that, we just need a vote to accept the transportation bid submittal from Topman Enterprises.
So originally, you were looking at about a 10% increase?
Yeah, I had 10% in the budget.
Yeah.
So that was based upon prior contracts. Again, it came in a little bit higher than I originally anticipated. But in talking with Topman, they do need to enhance their salaries and their benefits for their employees to fill those positions as we move forward. Staffing is just as big as an issue for them as it is for us. And they anticipate their drivers turning over in the next few years as well, as many retire. So it's understandable. I mean, we do work with them as a partner. So in the grand scheme of things, it does make sense. And like I said, they are getting in line with other transportation providers across the state.
Awesome. Any questions, comments?
I just have one question. How long have we used them for busing? Forever, right?
So I went back. I've been there 15 years. I know they've been there. The last, from what I understand, it was split for a while with Topman and another provider. That was probably when Mr. Greer was going to school. No, I think Topman has been at least a partial provider for over 40 years. Yeah.
Wow.
And we're their only district, correct?
Correct. They do some busing for Situate, some of their metro busing, and they do one-offs for other districts, but we're their sole district.
Any other questions, comments? Is there a motion on the floor to approve the bid for Topman Enterprises? So moved from Mr. Greer. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Stetson. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? 500.
So much. I'll get it later.
We'll sign it right there.
It's a few pages in. What's that? Oh, yeah. You want to do another quick item?
If you want, we can do that.
Is there any quick ones?
Family vacation.
What's that?
Not from your family vacation.
Yeah, we're going to do the school committee meetings calendar while everyone gets set up there. Turn it over to Mr. Green.
Yeah, no, so just to kind of get ahead of the game here, Ms. Zurski has put up a first draft of our meeting calendar for the 23-24 school year, starting with July 18th, and then moving to June 18th. Follows a pretty similar structure. Again, last year or two, we moved away from that first Tuesday after December break, and so whenever we're having a meeting. Any other oddities or any
Hoping to have one at the new preschool.
Okay, yeah.
So the August 22nd is written for the fire. Right, February month.
I think we've had that in the past too, usually around
Yeah,
that.
these are the boxes.
Oh, so we can move the meeting. I think 2 years ago, the August meeting was in front of us. We can move that. Thank you.
Mrs. Pizarki, I will not be available on August 22nd. I'll be there.
Might not even happen.
Okay.
Oh, so we'll just change the date on that one.
Okay.
Because that's the fair.
We did the week before.
So we did a meeting right before school started.
Oh, yeah. That's this.
That'll be first next school. We started still before Labor Day this year. And then August next year, yeah, later this year. 15th, possibly.
I'm not sure that works.
I mean, if everybody else can do that, that's fine. I just want to, if you changed it.
Kendra, did you say you wouldn't be there?
The 22nd, I will not be there.
I was just asking Ms. Boyd what she thought.
It's fine. Anytime.
Okay, so this is something we can figure out as we go.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the school committee calendar, the meetings calendar for 2023 to 2024 as presented?
With the changes, venue, if it's the 22nd, the change venue. Are we moving from the 22nd?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Just to
Okay.
Right, exactly. Is there a motion? So moved, Mr. Brewer. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Brady. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Miller?
All right, so now this is the first read of the a proposal for to institute a bus transportation fee for next school year. This is obviously something we don't do foolishly, and there's been a lot of work put into this. We started this process well over a year ago. And we have a transportation school start time working group, 2 school committee members, Ms. Brayton, Mr. Greer, Jeff, myself, Mr. Cuther, Ms. Skemmett, Principals Hubbard and Baird, Tricia Murphy in the business office, and Mr. Andrew Hoey, who's right here in the crowd as well, parent and a school administrator in another district. Like I said, we don't take this lightly. There was one time previously in fiscal 11 that the committee passed a transportation fee, and then it was about this time, and then it was rescinded in May of that year. So this Marshfield historically is one of the few districts that does not have a busing fee, and we've really fought hard over a long period of time to not institute one, but at this time, there's several reasons why we're bringing this forward. The real concerns and the issues that this would be addressing, it's not budgetary as it has been in the past. Primarily, we're addressing some concerns and problems. Our elementary school is starting on 2 different times, turning over every 2 years. It impacts families, it impacts students, it impacts our educators and their collaboration. So we're looking to address that. Our high school start time, 7:15. I have a slide in a little while that shows the times where some of the secondary schools surrounding us, our neighbors, what times they start. 7:15. 15 years ago was the norm. Many districts have moved those start times back based upon a lot of data, and that's something we're looking to address here as well. The primary transportation component of this is that the way we schedule our buses is providing a seat for every student. So at the elementary level, every student is assigned a bus, unless they're a walker, unless they live right next door to the school, and can safely walk to school, they're assigned a bus. Yet we know that not all the students ride a bus. So that is one issue. At the middle school, every student's assigned a bus. At the high school, we don't particularly do that. We do overschedule. Some buses may have 110 students assigned to it, but we know that they don't ride. They don't ride, and we have very low ridership at our high schools. All this is detailed in some slides to come. Another issue is our lack of ridership. Like, we don't know who's riding those buses primarily at the high school. Elementary school they do, middle school they do a good job of knowing which students are going to which buses. The high school, any student can really board any bus, and a transportation fee can address that. And as we just approved the transportation contract, I mentioned an over 22% increase. We started this group completely not a budgetary concern. It was addressing the tiers and the start times. But with the increase of 22%, approximately $180,000 more than was in the budget, in our initial budget. This now will come to a transportation fee could come to address that budgetary issue. So how does the fee address those problems? It's maximizing bus capacity. So there's another slide here in a moment, and I put links to a whole bunch of data that the group has looked at, that we've put together. I won't go through all that tonight, but maximizing bus capacity is the major issue. Like I said, we at the middle school, we have approximately 60 to 70 students assigned to every bus. Some are a little bit less, but 50 to 60 students, knowing that, and usually there's approximately 40 to 45 students on each bus. So we know we have those limitations. Elementary, there's several buses where we have 40, 50 students assigned to a bus, and we know there's a significantly less number. And then the high school, if you've seen a high school bus, some of those are in the teens when there's triple digits assigned to them. So the real key component is just reducing the total number of bus routes. Reducing the bus routes, maximizing capacity, filling the buses, it will allow us to address those two primary issues, allowing us to have one elementary start time and potentially combining the high school and the middle school to one later start time than what they have right now. So, just a little background on the transportation fee. It's Massachusetts general law. K to 6 outside of 2 miles are the only students that we truly have to transport. So in this scenario, any student not legally required to transport that chooses to ride a school bus. So we can, the district, as many districts across the state do, almost, I would venture to guess, probably 90 to 95% of them do charge a fee for a student that they do not legally are not legally required to transport. So those students that live within 2 miles of their school, kindergarten through grade 6 and grades 7 through 12, potentially would have a fee charged. Free and reduced lunch students are not required to pay. So those students are not eligible to have to pay a transportation fee. So that takes that question out of the scenario. So the proposal here that we talked with the committee is $180 per student. So for lack of a better term, $1 a day. That was the fee that was enacted in fiscal 11. So going back 12 years, it was $180 per day. I have a big slide with all our surrounding districts, and that comes in just about the least amount, the least costly fee. across the South Shore. What several districts do though, is put an initial fee in for a certain time frame, and then do bump it up after a couple weeks to a higher fee, just because we really do need people to register. And people to register, we want everyone to register, whether they're saying they don't want the bus, or if they're free and reduced, we want them to register. We want everybody to respond from all our families for all our students. So this is a little bit of a late payment penalty, or if you want to look at the other way, it's an early discount. So it would bump up $50, $230 per student, $460 family cap. We were very cognizant of having a family cap for families with more than 2 students. So what we're looking at is a deadline about a month after registration opens. So because once that deadline is reached, we have the data, we form the routes, we may not have seats available for students. So it's going to be really important to get the message out and have our parents and our families respond. So this is really small, but it's got a lot of data on it. It's our surrounding communities and their current bus fee, their current family cap. We're really just focusing on the transportation fee tonight, but there'll be a lot of work moving forward with our group, coming back to the committee, potentially on combining the middle school and high school, reducing the number of tiers. This is all based upon the data we receive and how we can put together our routes once we have all that information. So you can see there's a column for high school, middle school, and elementary start times. And as you can see, there's been a push to the 8 o'clock range. There's still some that are, I think there's a 7:20 there, but in that group, we are the earliest starting high school. The first one is high school, the second one's middle school, and then the last 2 are elementaries. So this is up there. This is not set in stone by any means. This is still a discussion to be had. Our current 0 bus fee, 0 family cap, and our 4 start times, 7:15, 7:50, 8:20, 8:50. This is just a hypothetical scenario where we would be able to combine the middle school and high school, start them approximately 5 minutes apart, for lack of this is for more discussion with the group and bring it to the committee, 7:45, 7:50 with an 8:30 elementary start time. So that's one scenario that we could see playing out. All the data's there. There's only a handful of districts that still do not charge a fee. We don't have regional districts cannot charge a fee. So I took them off this chart. So we're going to see a lot more of this in the coming weeks if all this comes to fruition, and once we get our data and we're able to make some decisions based upon that. Again, a little bit more about the MGL. It's regular. We're required to pay 62 miles. Special education students, they get their transportation. This does not affect special education students. This is the actual MGL in detail. Again, exceeding 2 miles, grades kindergarten through 6. This is the general law that allows us to assess the fees, and states that any student that has free or reduced lunch does not have to pay a fee. Lunch is free again next year. It's all but settled. So a little side effect of this will be to boost our numbers once again. Our numbers have dropped a little bit on our free and reduced lunch, are economically disadvantaged. We're still trying to get those numbers as much as we can, even with free lunch. But But this, a little side effect would be, I would imagine more families filling out the form and being eligible for federal school lunch, which would in turn allow them to be eligible for free bus transportation. And lastly, this is a little bit of the nuts and bolts, but it's the portal. The portal is the sidewalk or the road in front of the house to the school. So just putting that out there, as we get into the nitty gritty of this, we of course will be a little bit lenient. We're using Google Maps to set those distances for all students. We're pulling that together as we speak. And we will obviously, we'll lean a little bit on the over 2. If it's 2, it's going to be over 2. So we're not gonna push it. But that's the definition of the distance of 2 miles for K-6. This was up on the big graph, but again, these are our 4-tier routes. The story behind that was in FY 2007, just shortly before I arrived in Marshfield. The 5 elementaries were on the same schedule. Back in FY 07, the elementaries were split, and 11 buses were eliminated. At that time, it was completely budgetary. It saved the district approximately $350,000 by doing that. Where we're at today, pulling them together potentially could even save us a little bit of money. I have a little bit more detail here. This is our total enrollment across the district, 3626. Back in FY 07, it was 4,800. So that would give you a little idea of how much our enrollment has dropped over that time frame. The number of routes, so this is the key component to making this all work. We have 13 routes at the high school, 17 at the middle school. We have 14 on this tier, and we have 14 on this tier. So the key thing is, there's 20, 28, 30. The key component is going to be able to pull those tiers together, get those numbers down to about 20 routes. If we get, our contracts are 18, but we can go 19, 20, and offset that with, so that a route is the bus. And then there is 4 different tiers in that route. By going from 4 tiers to 2 tiers, it's going to save X amount of dollars, but going from 18 buses to 19 to 20 buses is going to be a little bit more money. So we'll shake that out, but I think the budgetary piece of this is not only the increase in the contract, but potentially revenue from the transportation fee. So that's where it all gets in. If you can see, like at the high school, there's an average of 34.5 on each bus. Some are much lower, some are a little higher. Furnace Brook, about 42, and then you can see the numbers. These numbers, this is actual ridership on a couple days, random days. These are the actual number assigned. So at the 5 elementaries, we assign all students to each route, and those are those numbers there. So there's definitely a chance, an opportunity to have more students on the buses, be more efficient, and solve some of our issues. It's all detailed in these 2 links. I'm not going to pull that up. I can talk all day on that type of stuff, but that's the real component here is getting the buses more efficient, putting more students in the buses. One key component on this is going to be the ability to have a longer space in between the routes. So we have 30 minutes. It's always hectic trying to get a bus dropping off at the high school, running all the way down Granite Rock, picking up 40, 45 kids, and then getting back to the middle school in half an hour. I don't think any of us can do that in our cars, but like these bus drivers manage to do it, and sometimes it's a little tough, but we make it work. But So 40 minutes in between the high school, middle school, and the elementary is going to provide us with a lot of opportunity there to really maximize and be efficient. So school buses, 77 elementary students is the maximum. Obviously, as the students get older, get larger, it goes down. 2 to a seat, middle school and high school is 52 students. So in talking this through, we are going to look at scheduling buses a little bit over that 52 at the secondary level, because we know a lot of these students only ride in the morning. Some of them only ride in the afternoon. So we're going to work that through. Right now, we can't determine that, so that's what the fee will do. It'll give us the data to make all those decisions. This is a rough timeline based upon this first read potential vote at our next committee meeting on April 11th. A lot of work's going on right now. We have to put all the data into Aspen on how far the student lives from their school next year. So we're looking at the 5th graders, how far they're from the middle school. But this is a potential timeline of opening up registration in Aspen. We did this during COVID. We did have people register. It was a pretty painful process getting our families and parents to respond. Obviously, there was a lot going on at that time. There were a lot of phone calls made from our buildings, so hopefully we can get a good response on this, and it's not too painful of a process getting the responses. But a short registration, relatively short, 2 weeks, May 1 to May 15 for that early discount, and then the secondary increase May 6th to May 30th, so a month to get that registration in. Set a deadline of May 30th because we need that data to make everything work. How it actually operate, many districts just use bag tags, so on the backpack, on whatever the student is carrying. That's the way we plan on starting it for next year. If this comes to pass, we could eventually move to a whole, go into the whole technological way to track this and there's a bunch of stuff out there. But to get it going in the beginning, we're just going to do the manual process bag tags and work with our drivers and work with our schools, our buildings to implement that process. And just a few concerns and issues. We discussed these a lot in our group. The traffic patterns and timing at the complex with the high school and middle school. There would have to be a lot of work to be done there. Working with public safety on that process. Boys and Girls Club transportation right now we're providing 4 buses that go to the Boys and Girls Club after school. We need to start discussions with the Boys and Girls Club. I think we can still make it work, but it might look a little different than what we have right now. Transportation, I mentioned in the contract discussion, that Topman has staffing issues like we do, and that's a little bit of concern if we have to go more than 18 buses. If we have to go to 19, 20, but we're working with them on staffing. And then of course students walking to school. So we have a very limited amount of walking zones currently. Nan's Way, a little bit bigger area at Governor Winslow. A small number of students at Daniel Webster that walk through the easement behind the school. But we've really reduced the number of students that walk to school in the last few years. I think we have to open that back up. We've limited our crossing guards recently. We would work to try to get some crossing guards and staffing, big issue there. But we do work with Safe Routes. All our buildings are signed up and Safe Routes to School. We bring that back to the table. So those students that are picking the bus up to go 200 meters down the road could actually walk to school rather than having to pay a fee. So that's another great component. There are a number of other minor things, but those are the four big concerns, big issues that we have. And as we get a little further, there's nothing up there right now, but as we move a little bit further in the process, we will put up more information, more resources on this. There's a lot of work to be done to make this work, but I think as a district, it'll be a big step forward in what we can accomplish. And again, like I started out, we don't take this lightly, putting in a fee or making this proposal to the committee. But in the end, I think our families, our community realize it's a small price to pay to accomplish what we're looking to accomplish as a district. And so the vote would be taking at the next meeting.
Okay. Any questions or comments from Mr. Miller?
I have one question. Just to make sure I'm writing this chart right, I'm looking at the current student ridership. There's the total enrollment and then the total students. Is the total students the number of students that live within the 2-mile radius? Or what is the difference between those two numbers?
So the difference, at the high school and middle school level, those are the actual students that were riding the bus on a couple of particular days. I try to touch upon a little bit at the high school level. So high school, 448 AM, PM. We don't know if those 448 students are the same students. So the number's probably higher than that, but we don't know because we don't track it. At the elementary level, those are the number of students assigned to a bus. And that you can actually look at that and guess, you can see how many quote-unquote walkers, what we call walkers, are at each school. So at Daniel Webster, the Chandler Drive easement, Mr. Greer, is that correct? Yes. Chandler Drive easement? I forgot the road that comes right in there.
Chandler.
The Chandler? Yep. Yeah. So you can see the 277 enrollment, 238. That difference there are those students that walk through the easement. At Ames Way, there's 7 that live right here. And at Governor Winslow, we have a number of walkers that are near Regis Road that do, and we have 3 crossing guards at Governor Winslow. So those students that live within that area of the sidewalk are considered walkers at Governor Winslow. South River, 1. I think that may be a statistical anomaly there. And then at Martinson, you can see there's only 14. And I think that 14 because they do come through actually we do pick up Tilden and Plans now. So that may be just Forest Street right in that area. Anybody that's right near the school that has a sidewalk that goes to the school.
Quick question, is the path still open back here?
What's that?
Is the path still open back there? Or is it
Yeah, it's open. It's open. I don't know if there's anywhere there.
That opens up all those streets?
I don't even know if there's any elementary kids that live back there. They're all, but no, I mean.
Well, when I went here, like everybody that lived on Idlewild and all those streets.
They all walked. Yeah. Different world. We were talking about that the other day.
Any other questions?
Thank you to you and the whole committee for all the time just thank you to you and the entire committee that worked to put this together.
It's and like I said, it's just starting because this was a lot of work. We met about a year ago, and we went through a lot of this. Then we just recently met again. Mr. Hoey came on board. Once we have the data, then we're going to really look at those tiers and those start times. And there's several different ways we can go with it. once we have, if we get the information back on May 30th that we can do this, you know, back in the envelope, I think we can definitely get it done at secondary level. Elementary may be a little tougher on our initial run through. But if we can, then we can make some really, really big decisions as far as, you know, what time school actually does start.
If over the next 2 weeks you have questions on this, I mean, we can't deliberate outside of the open meeting, but if you had a question that you wanted us to look into so that we can have a quick answer for you when we get together back on the 11th, feel free to send them along to myself or Tom.
Yeah.
After you read through this a little bit more, you might have some more questions.
Right, and I'll add in there too, Mr. Miller, I think just the one thing that jumps out at me was some of the concerns that you brought up that folks will have. You know, with the increase, the potential increase of the traffic flow at the high school and middle school at the same time, that intersection at Furnace Street and Forest Street is horrible right now. I know that's a state intersection, so it may be something where we want to loop them in. I know there was talk a long time ago about whether or not it would be possible to do a traffic study there and see if we can get a light or some sort of mechanism like that, maybe even just a flashing light, but that's something that we should really revisit and maybe loop in our state legislators since it would be a state level project.
Yeah, and we had an unfortunate incident well after school there a few years ago with a student being struck. At that time, I know we brought it up, there was a study done probably 20 years ago at this point. But it's time for a new one, I believe, because I think that intersection's tough.
So that may actually even be something now where maybe we can call Pat O'Connor's office and Pat Kearney's office and Josh Cutler's office. The state budget process is coming up, so maybe we request some sort of earmark in the budgetary process to maybe do another traffic study or see if that's even a possibility to request something like that because it's going to cost some money.
That's right.
When do they start taking amendments for the...
So the House budget process starts the last week of April is the budget itself. So they're starting to formulate that process. Then a couple of weeks after that is the Senate budget process, mid to late May. So we need to get moving on that. And I think Ms. Boyd and I are the legislative outreach team on our committee assignment. So maybe we can talk about that, how to do that. Obviously, you're friendly with Pat O'Connor, and we can review it and figure out how to.
That would be great. And we do have crossing guards out there in the afternoon at dismissal. We don't have crossing guard there in the morning presently. We haven't been able to staff it. But if we're going to expect students to be able to walk back, every student that was a walker previously in that area, we assigned to a bus. Now, and we took away the crossing guards there for the most part. And we did that at Daniel Webster as well. We pick up all the students that previously walked. So this is going to start to reverse that trend and the safety at that, especially at that intersection.
Well, it's horrible. Yeah. It's awful. So we should definitely, we'll talk.
Great.
Yeah, so I think the way we discussed this is that the initial proposal would be for the fee, right, with none of this extra stuff in it, right? Separate problem to be solved. The proposal would be for the fees.
Right, that's what that's...
Yeah, this is just strictly, that's why I focused on that. But like I said, if this is just the fee proposal, then after that we have more stuff.
With the data that we get, we can figure out.
That was my understanding.
It might be hard to get 2 tiers away from the elementary in year 1, but it might be easier based on the ridership that we know really doesn't exist at the high school level. It might be easier for us to move forward with combining it and changing time a little bit. Worst case.
Any other questions, comments? Ms. Bree, Mr. Greer, thank you both for that process, being involved with that from the committee side. Mr. Miller, Mr. Brantino, everybody else who's involved. Thanks for all the work that goes into that. Andy, thank you for being here. And thank you for everything you do.
Very outspoken and very informative, and he's passionate about it. But he has good perspective from other districts as well.
Absolutely.
We've gone through this type of thing, so
Absolutely.
great.
Great. Well, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on into our next item. Let's stick with calendar stuff and just do the academic calendar.
So we have the 24-25 calendar, correct?
Yes.
will be our first one in some time that goes after Labor Day. We have the lower number that we voted on with as we go through the contract negotiations from 2 years ago, where a couple of years we'll be having return after Labor Day. So this creates a little bit of a unique situation that we have some time to look at. This is the first read. Typically, the teachers would return on that Tuesday, the 3rd, and then the 4th would be the first day for students. But as you know, the 4th is a half day or early release typically. So we run the situation. We keep it on that day. Does an early release make sense? To make that full day and then make all the other Wednesdays early release might mess up some schedules, whether it's here or it might be. So we'll go back and forth as a group about this, but to keep it as it is right now, that would be potential early release, which is, of course, at the high school, the grades 10 through 11, 10 through 12 have an early release that day to allow for freshman orientation. Again, this Wednesday would not be all district early release anyways, but if we had it at the elementary, it's not as counterintuitive as we think it might be for a first day, maybe as we ease into the school year. So that's a question that we're still kind of tinkering with. Other than that, things are fairly straightforward. We do have one issue to look at in the holidays in December. We have Christmas Eve on the 24th, typically not in school then, but we have been a half day on the day before Christmas Eve, traditionally. So this proposal has what we've done in the past. There might be some discussion on the numbers to look differently at that, and if we did that and had just the 23rd off as part of the holiday vacation, and then 20th would be the last day of classes. So what we have in there right now is what's been done in the past, but this obviously open for discussion.
Quick question.
Yeah.
I don't need to answer this, right? There's a cost associated with opening the school, right? Coming off the weekend. So if we're opening the school for a day out of that week, for a half day, which is even worse, right? So we're spending money, we didn't need to spend money.
We know you want to get to Costco to get your present.
23rd is your shopping.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to you about
You don't have
So,
to get me.
yes, it could be a cost savings to have the building shut down for that week.
Yeah, we're just going to see spending the money opening the school.
Okay. And again, this is just our first run through it. Everything else is pretty perfunctory, no major changes. We will be coming back on the 2nd, which is a Thursday, so we'll have 2 days in. And then if all went well, like it has gone this year, because of that, going a week later, obviously our end date is a little later than typical. The 19th will be our last day, not including some days. So we're really only have a week or so to play with to get snow days. We can't go beyond the 30th.
Any other questions, comments? This first read of the calendar?
I'm sorry, it's June 17th was the last day. The 19th was highlighted as June 10th, I apologize.
Well, you can close the school on the 23rd.
If there was a
We don't have to get a lot of-
weather emergency or a structural emergency, I could do that, but setting the days in advance is done by you folks.
He also won't be here.
I don't take two weeks off, but
Oh, this is 25.
It's 2020.
yes, this is
Oh, yeah,
this is
We'll keep you on the snow chain though.
Yeah, right.
We'll keep you on the snow chain.
We'll give everybody your cell phone.
there you go.
So it's-
I'll pull it on radio.
Drive around town.
Give us a report.
Yes,
Right.
It does come to one.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's,
Right, that's like,
oh, this is the cost.
I understand.
Any other questions, comments?
This time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
We've got 2 items left. We're going to go first to the New England Academy. Mr. Grantino.
Yes, this has been up for second read for a little while now. We have New England Academy setting up their school again over on Enterprise. Is that Enterprise or is it the, what's the word for, Boys and Girls Club? Providers, I believe it's on Providers. Not Hill after that. But it's back up in that area, as we talked about. It's a school for students with social emotional issues. Probably they're looking to have about 30 to 40 kids the first school year. Ideally, they're looking at a top out maybe 75 to 80 students. We're looking to have a time offset our start times a little bit, just so there's a little less traffic. We're not talking about the big buses coming down the road. We're taking games in there. Good folks, they run a school right now up in Beverly East. It's for about 20 years, about 18, 20 years. And they've met all their requirements for DESE, for MEASC. They've done all the due diligence with the town of Marshfield and building the school. And this is part of our policy on accepting private schools in the town. And if they've met all the requirements, it's a straightforward approach for the community to approve them as a school district.
So it's a legal required board. Any questions,
At
comments?
no cost, Mr. Greer, we should get it. No cost to us.
This is a second read, so folks have any questions or comments before we move forward? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion. Okay, so move for Ms. Stetson, second for Mr. Greer. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, 500. Our last item for the evening is the principal search update. I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Grantino, on that, Dr. Marshfield as well.
Well, the one search is going on currently. Here at the Way, we have a subcommittee overseeing that is Hubbard has collected applications over the last 3 weeks. The application process shut down on the 24th, next Friday. They are meeting, they're meeting tomorrow night. Start vetting out candidates to come in for their first round of interviews. It's very exciting. And then at the high school level, there's obviously been a little bit more action that you already addressed a little bit earlier in the meeting. I'll turn that over to Dr. Martin since you've been sharing that.
I did send out the information to you about our 2 finalists. We have Ryan Augusta and Andrew Stevens, who I gave you kind of their biographies. So we are having site visits here tomorrow and Thursday, and there will be first Billy Battis and Karen Waiting will take the candidates around the high school to give a tour of both the common areas and the classrooms so that they can see students in action, teachers in action. And then they will meet with a student focus group, followed by a staff focus group, followed by a kindergarten and family focus group, followed by a leadership focus group, and then meet directly with the superintendent after that. So that is tomorrow and Thursday, so it will be busy days at the high school with MCAS going on top of it. But we hope to vet the candidates and have everyone have a say in it. There was a survey that came out to ask questions so that we can pose them to the candidates at the focus group sessions. So we are vetting through, compiling those and just kind of chunking them into similar questions so that we're not repeating. And Mr. Grantino will be being the facilitator, the host of those focus groups to ask the questions. So, exciting stuff. So hopefully, hopefully by the next school committee meeting, we will have someone to announce.
Very exciting.
And thank you, Mr. Costello, for being the school committee on that group.
Great group.
It was a great group. We had a lot of conversation, even though I think we were supposed to be done at about noon on Saturday. I think
1:30 is the same.
1:30, but we were just kind of having a conversation and really
Really, really passionate people. Everyone we interviewed did great, and everybody in the committee was awesome. It was just a really gratifying process to see why people want to come to Marshfield. It's pretty cool. Excellent. Great. Moving on now to the meeting minutes. We'll take the regular meeting minutes from February 28th. A reminder that we had 2 members who were unable to be with us, so those 2 would be the same. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 28th, 2023 once. So moved from Ms. Stetson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Boyd. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining.